This is the Soul Podcast, the first podcast in history to have a line dance created for it. I'm King Sejong, reminding you that Korean fried chicken is healthy because it's Korean. And here are your hosts, Emma Kalka and Joe McPherson.
And welcome to the Soul Podcast. This is Joe.
And I'm Emma.
All right, so thank you for sticking with us this whole time. Last week we had Daniel Kennedy on the show, VIP number 2.
Our favorite VIP.
Our favorite VIP. I will admit, I would not mind his resting his feet on my naked body. Yeah.
I would just feel awkward. I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to touch you there. Sorry. I would be like Daniel. I would be apologizing all the time. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I don't know, man. It might feel good on the back, you know? It'd be kind of like it's a good pressure point.
I might do that. Like
it's like okay, you could put your feet on my back, but could you get that spot right over there? Yeah, thanks.
Like, give them like little bat massage.
Yeah, that's what you do. It's like that's a mutual thing. It's it's the circle of life. That's how you do it.
But try not to smear the body paint.
They have touch-up people. They pay them for something.
That's what makeup artists do.
I mean, I saw some behind-the-scenes pics. I mean, there are tons of people in the background for this. I mean, there's groups.
Which is crazy because when you're watching it, you just see them in this massive room and they're like miles apart from each other.
Yeah. And you don't think that
there's no one in there.
An army of people behind that camera. Yeah, I did. It's over 10 years ago. I did Running Man, the popular Korean TV show, and I would swear there were 20 cameras, shoulder-held cameras. Seriously, it was such a massive group. It really was like 40 people in a room doing that show.
Well, yeah, like a few months ago, I filmed a series of YouTube videos for some tourism company or whatever about traditional Korean games.
Uh-huh.
Oh, foreshadowing.
They didn't involve squids, did they? Yeah.
No. Oh, but we did play Dakji. They taught me how to play Dakji. So very first game that we see in the series, I was like, I know how to play that game. It's so freaking hard.
It is hard.
But there was like me and this Korean woman. So we were like the hosts, I guess. And she was teaching me how to play the games. And it was just introducing traditional Korean games to foreigners.
Yeah.
So we're like the only 2 people on camera, but this space where we're filming, there's like 20 people there and all these cameras and lights and everything. And, I'm just like, after there's one game, what was it? They kept, I forgot what it's called. The Jacks. It's kind of like Jacks.
Yeah.
That game.
That's hard.
What's it called?
Don't ask me. Don't do that to me.
Gongi, something. Because they kept mentioning it on Squid Game. Especially like.
Oh, they were guessing what the games were going to be next.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no, like the episode we're going to talk about. Or no. So it was the last episode, Marble, when they had to team up, and she's like desperate to get somebody to team up with her, and she's like, "Oh, but what if we're playing this game?"
They were talking about that.
Girls
better
are much better at this game.
Yeah.
Gongi. They're so much better at it. You're gonna wish that you had me. And I was like, I know that game. Ha! And they didn't play it, but Dakji was really hard. Like we me and the other woman, we were having such a hard time trying to get the squares to flip that they actually brought one of the camera guys onto they were like, okay, stop. This is not working. So they had to bring one of the camera guys on, and he had to show us how to do it just so that they could get shots of the squares flipping, because we couldn't flip each other's squares.
Oh, really? So and she wasn't slapping you every time you lost?
No.
Oh.
looking back, I'm like, man, if any of us had known about Squid Game back then, I mean, I don't even know. They should be up on YouTube somewhere by now, but I have no idea. Like, they're supposed to like let me know when they posted them, and I haven't heard from. That was like back in March.
Usually the last to know.
Yeah, so I have no idea. Maybe I'll do like a quick YouTube search and see if I can find it.
Talk to your Wrangler, see what happens.
Yeah, be like, hey, it was like I was doing a favor for a friend. So one of my friends, her friend was the producer, and they were desperate to get a foreigner in and kind of at the last minute. And so she called me up and was like, hey, can you do this? And I'm like, only if it's on a weekend. She's like, oh, it's going to be on a Sunday. I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm in. I'll do it.
All right.
Why not?
And you did it. You played your own Squid Game.
Board games. Yes, I played it felt
your own Korean games. So we are going to cover episodes 7 and 8.
Mm-hmm. Almost to the end.
Yeah, VIPs and frontmen. And Emma's going to give us a quick summary. Take it away, Emma.
Episode number 7, VIPs. We are treated to the heartbreaking sight of Ali in a gift coffin before the players return to the dorm to find Nino lying there waiting for them. She announces that she was allowed to live because of an old rule that no one should be left out, and then antagonizes Doksu, who is by far the most surprised to see her there. Back with the front man, he discovers that the bullet that killed guard 28 is one that is mainly used in guns given to the police, and then sends the guards out to search for the intruder. Upon reaching the place where Detective Nine Lives is conveniently hiding out, he receives a message that a body has washed up on shore and leaves, saving Detective Nine Lives' ass yet again. When they reach the body, the frontman finds Detective Nine Lives' ID on him. He studies it and then gives the order to burn the body and goes off to meet the VIPs. Back in the dorm, player 69 is dealing with some serious guilt over beating his wife and therefore causing her death, and calls out for everyone to vote to end the game. But at this point, everyone else is in it to win it. The VIPs have landed. The frontman meets them and guides them in. They see on the screen that player 69 is about to kill himself, which one VIP is pissed about because he bet on him solely because 69 is a, quote, beautiful number. Yeah, we're calling this dude pervert VIP. At the same time, Detective Nine Lives threatens an attendant and steals his clothes and mask, possibly upping his body count yet again, but who knows? I mean, I bet the dude is dead, just from his track record. The next morning, or honestly, who knows? It's impossible to keep track of time in this show. The players wake up to find player 69 dead, and more money is added to the pot. They are taken to another room where they are shown 16 placards and allowed to choose. Gyun has a momentary crisis trying to decide which one he wants, and ends up getting stuck with either front of the line or back of the line, which leads to yet another crisis. All the while, the VIPs are having horribly scripted dialogue, but yet still dropping hints at what the game could be after they are shown a small glass bridge. In the end, Gyun goes to choose number 1, but player 96, who is Pervert VIP's new choice because, well, obvious reasons, begs him to let him have number 1, since he wants to finally take control of his life for once. Bad timing, dude. The players are then told that the numbers are the order in which they will compete. They are then taken to the real bridge, which is, gasp, bigger, according to our favorite VIP, and we find out they are playing a twisted, effed up version of hopscotch with a time limit. Anyone who doesn't cross the line in 16 minutes is eliminated. The bridge is made of regular glass and tempered glass, one of which will break when stepped on, while the other can hold up to 2 people. Player 96 goes up and dies pretty quickly, pissing off Pervert VIP, who then turns his attentions to Detective Nine Lives. One by one, the players go up and fall until finally Doksu is leading the group. He then turns around and shouts that if they want to get to the other side, they have to go in front of him. After a bit of a standstill that ends up with his minion behind him getting pushed off, Nino steps up to bat and flippin' knocks it out of the ballpark with the most epic death of the series. Locking her arms around Doksu, she tells him that they're going to the end together, and then proceeds to pull him down to his much-deserved death. Meanwhile, in the VIP room, Pervert VIP has other things in mind and drags Detective Nine Lives to a private room, ordering up a blowjob. Rather than do that, Detective Nine Lives literally takes him by the balls, forcing him to admit everything about Squid Game on camera. Back in the game, luck of all luck, the guy in front used to work in a glass factory and can tell the difference, guiding Sang-woo the asshole, Sae-byuk, and Gi-hun safely across. In the VIP room, the front man becomes aware of this just as he gets the news that Pervert VIP is out cold. Before leaving the room, in a not so surprising but still cruel twist of fate, the front man changes the lighting, making it impossible to see the difference between the glass panes. He then runs off to find the intruder, catching Detective Nine Lives as he is going down the escape hatch to the diving spot. Glass Factory Dude attempts to determine the glass by tossing Gi-hun's marble. What luck he had that! But when that doesn't work, Mr. SNU asshole pushes him, breaking the glass and finding the path to safety. With time almost up, Sae-byuk and Gi-hun, both shocked by Mr. Asshole, run to safety and make it just as time ends. We are then treated to a cinematic explosion of glass that cuts Gi-hun and Sang-woo on the face, but alludes to something more serious with Sae-byuk. Episode number 8, Frontman. The final 3 players are led back to the dorm, but someone, heavy hinting that it's Sae-byuk, is bleeding heavily. At the same time, despite managing to escape the island with stolen dive gear, Detective Nine Lives decides to go back because that makes sense. He manages to get in contact with his boss requesting backup, but reception is horrible because this is basically a deserted island, dude. The call drops and he can't seem to get all the evidence he's gathered to go through. Back in the dorm, Gi-hun and Sang-woo the asshole get into a massive blowout, completely ignoring an obviously in pain Sae-byuk, but are then interrupted by the guards. They hand out presents and are told to change before they received their actual gift. While changing in the bathroom, it is revealed that Sae-byuk has taken a rather large hunk of glass to the abdomen and is bleeding out. The 3 then sit down to a steak dinner that Sae-byuk barely touches because she's obviously dying, which ends with all 3 pocketing the knives left by the guards and a not-so-veiled message to take each other out if they feel the inclination. On the island, I guess it's daytime? Detective Nine Lives is finally caught by the frontman and his minions. The frontman calls out that he knows the detective has only 1 bullet left and tries to convince him to stand down. But being the smart guy that he is, Detective Nine Lives proceeds to use his last bullet by shooting the frontman in the shoulder. Right. Great aim, dude. The frontman then takes off his mask, revealing that he is, in fact, Detective Nine Lives' missing older brother. And also incredibly famous actor Lee Byung-hun, meaning that there's totally going to be another season, and there's definitely going to be more frontman screen time. The frontman then asks Detective Nine Lives once again to come with him. Detective Nine Lives, obviously in shock, shakes his head no, to which the frontman raises his gun. After the detective asks, "Brother, why?" the frontman shoots him in the shoulder, and the detective falls off the cliff into the water. Has he finally used up all his lives? Who the F knows? The final 3 are in bed, but still super wary of each other. My eyes are on you, Mr. SNU asshole of the century. After he appears to have fallen asleep, Gi-hun approaches Sae-byuk, who is super wary, but Gi-hun promises he's not there to hurt her, and if he wanted to, she's already nodded off a couple times. Sae-byuk then tells him not to worry about her and to think about himself. Gi-hun proposes that they work together against Sang-woo. Best idea ever. Sae-byuk then asks Gi-hun what he would do with the money if he won, to which he replies that he would pay off his debts, then buy a nice clean store in the city for his mother, and finally start being a good father. Sae-byuk asks about his daughter and finds out that she's the same age as her little brother, leading her to share that she wants to get him out of the orphanage, bring her mother from the north, and get them all a nice house. Knowing that she's dying, she makes Gi-hun promise that should one of them get out and the other doesn't, they would take care of the other's family. Seeing that Sang-woo the asshole is asleep, Gi-hun gets the bright idea to take him out, but Sae-byuk stops him, saying he's not that person. She then passes out from her wounds, and Gi-hoon runs to get the guards, thinking they will save her. When the door opens, it's the guards, but with a gift coffin. And when Gi-hoon turns around, he sees Sang-woo, effing asshole of the century, standing next to Se-byuk's bed with a bloody knife. Upon running to the bed and seeing that Sang-woo slit her throat, Gi-hoon attempts to take Sang-woo out, but is stopped by the guards. Meanwhile, the front man is in his room removing the bullet from his shoulder. He sees his younger brother, Detective No Lives, in the mirror, asking him why. The camera pans out with Fly Me to the Moon, which, by the way, this is that scene from the first episode for anybody who paid attention. Right. Playing as the episode ends.
And thank you, Emma, for that great summary. Okay.
With all my color commentary. It's
It was
just like
beautiful.
every time I do it, I just add more into it.
Well, you know what I'm going to do is when we're done with this, I'm going to just stitch them all together. And we'll just do
fun.
that'd be cool if
That could be fun.
YouTube doesn't kill us for doing that. But yeah, let's just them all together.
I think like the worst I say is like I call Sang-woo an asshole all the time.
So what? No, I'm just saying about like us giving away the plot for the whole show.
Oh, for the whole show.
Yeah, but other ones did that. I mean, spoilers. I mean, so what? I mean, Honest Trailers does it, and Pitch Meeting does it. So why not us? And yeah. Also, we do have a YouTube channel. Search for us right now, Soul Podcast. I did come through on one of my threats, and I did make a version of Squid Game with a laugh track.
I still haven't watched it. I need to watch it. I watched Honest Trailer, and I watched the pitch meeting that you sent me. Finally, after I finally finished the entire series, I could watch all of those other ones.
Oh, it made me feel so sad when Pitch Meeting, where they were making fun of he was talking bad about the VIPs. It made me feel so bad. I'm like, oh.
Me too. Yeah, I honestly, like my friends here in Korea that I've talked to about it, they were like, "Oh, we knew immediately when it started, the bad dialogue started up. We knew it was not the acting; it was the script that you're dealing with."
Yeah.
And the director and like the type of acting that they want.
We're so used to this in Korea, and so people outside Korea are not aware of this, and also the Korean media creators inside Korea are not aware that they're doing this. Mm-hmm. I wonder if they're listening to the feedback on this, and just for once, would a Korean director who's also writing the script please just get a script doctor who's a native English speaker? Mm-hmm. There's no, I mean, the pride, I know there's a pride there, but come on, man. Having Tilda Swinton tell a whole giant press event, that this pig is going to taste fucking great. That's
not.
You don't do that. I mean, okay, I'm going to go back on Okja because I rewatched bits of Okja.
I still haven't watched Okja.
Yeah, and the only English speaker in that film that is not over the top crazy is Giancarlo Esposito, who is from Breaking. You might know him from as Gus from Breaking Bad, who is this very subdued, quiet, put together evil man. The best character on Breaking Bad, by the way. But he just plays a nicer version of Gus, but he's the only one who's not over the top weird. I mean, even other actors in that, they're just way over the top.
Wait, but isn't it Bong Joon-ho too?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Great director. Great stuff. But just then you start seeing like this is the Korean view of what Americans look like. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I point out about this way back. It's like 2007, 2008. There was a Pizza Aetan commercial, which would not even fly in Korea to this day because of its racial stereotypes. But it had two characters. One that was an up and coming rapper at a time who was a flash in the pan, and some other actor, and they're advertising some type of American Chinese hybrid pizza, and they were all speaking what you would think of as gibberish in each other's language.
欧人喵去狗，你二三马，睇到你不是比较么口，含包么个包了，个狗后，fuck fuck 么个 fuck 么个 fuck fuck 么个 fuck fuck 么个，死怕了冇。
This is on TV. He's doing this.
Oh my god.
And this is how they think Americans talk.
I mean, in their defense, I do tend to say fuck a lot, but
Not that much. And
but only with my friends, never at the office. I'm not sure if they're doing it for TV shows, but definitely with Korean movies, they're starting to fly actors over. I mean, like, for example, Steel Rain 2, that came out, I want to say that came out last year, maybe.
Yeah.
I interviewed one of the actors, one of the American actors who was in it, and they flew him both. Like, he said most of the actors that were on like the American president's staff in the movie, they actually flew them from the States to Korea, except for the president. The president was actually Scottish, which was, I'm like, okay,
That's funny.
That's funny.
But like we said in Squid Game, they flew in Giancarlo, the VIP, not Giancarlo, just oh my god, Giuliano. They flew him in. The guy who played VIP number 4, the guy who got naked and was talking about 69 the whole time.
Yeah. But well, yeah, and like this guy, his name is Scott Lowell, and most people probably know him from the TV series Queer as Folk, and he's yeah, he's been on Bones, he's been on CSI, he's been on Criminal Minds.
Yeah.
He's been on everything. He's a face. Like, if you see him, you're like, that guy.
Yeah.
I loved him. When I interviewed him, I did get sidetracked a little bit, being like, so Bones, tell me about being on Bones.
Oh.
He had a reoccurring character. He was this forensic podiatrist. And they kept bringing him back on. But I know. But,
that's a very specialized profession.
Yeah. But I mean, he's been on all these shows that I love to watch from like high school onwards, and it's still fun. Like, I rewatched all of CSI the last couple of weeks, and I forgot he was in there. There's an episode and he played some guy's lawyer, and I'm like, oh my god, it's you again. You're everywhere.
Yeah, there are people like that, but you say that, and these are very experienced performers, but then you get them with a Korean script, you'll see how well they do.
I will admit I have not actually watched Steel Rain 2, so I couldn't really say what it was like. But I mean, he had nothing but really good things to say about working on set, like with the director and other actors and stuff. Like, he had really, positive things to say about working there. But I mean, maybe that's the difference between like when you're an actual actor that they've flown in from the States to do like a movie or something. Maybe it's a little bit different. I don't know.
Well, back to Squid Game. You know what must have been the most confusing thing for Korean speakers is how they pronounce VIPs.
Yeah.
Because in Korea, it's pronounced Vips.
Vips.
Vips. Korea's favorite steakhouse. We have, there's not in Korea. There's a steakhouse chain called Vips, and it's been around forever. Well, since late 90s, early 2000s. But it's
been a while, yeah.
It's the steakhouse in Korea, and it's called Vips. It's spelled VIPs, but it's pronounced Vips.
I think I've only been there like twice, maybe. I don't know.
Oh no, I've been there quite a few times. Yeah, in fact, yeah. I got a history. Right. I got a history with Vips. No, seriously. Right. I mean, I was with one of the executives at one time, and he was telling me secrets about that place. But anyway,
episode
7. Turned out my hunch was right. I was not imagining this, and you see this more and more, even more in episode 8. Is they did have drawings of all the games in the gym.
Right. Well, I think you probably didn't notice it before because they had all the beds set up.
Yeah, that was all set up. Yeah.
But yeah, as the more people die and the more beds they get rid of, you can actually see. Yeah, when you sent me that photo, I was like, oh my gosh, how did I miss this? Like,
I didn't notice it until near the end. So I was trying to look at the beginning. It's really hard to see. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, well, you can actually see the walls at the end, you know?
Yeah. And so it's like before the bridge game, the Stepping Stones game, they do have a picture of them playing that game. So they could have, if they were astute, they would have looked at that and figured it out, because I mean, one that really stands out is the Dagona game with all the shapes that are on the wall. It's like, oh, I remember that.
Right.
And then you'll notice, oh, look, hold on, there's a red light, green light on there. Oh, well, there's that too. Oh, look, there's marbles. Kids playing marbles. I'm guessing one of these other two drawings is the next game.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And maybe it's the one, the next game isn't the one with only 2 players. Yeah. So they come back from the marbles thing, and that is the most tragic one. That is the most tragic game.
It really is, yeah, because that's why it wrecked you, because they don't know what they're getting into, and then suddenly they are responsible for the death of this other person.
Yeah.
But so everybody's kind of like coming back, and they're kind of, I guess they're all in shock.
They're eating what I call their sadness potatoes.
Their sadness potatoes, yeah. And of course we find out that Minho has survived.
She has survived.
I had a feeling. I didn't think that they would.
Yeah, I mean, because she needed a better going away than that. Yeah, yeah. But it's interesting how they're using potatoes to express people's characters. If you know, watch it again and see how everyone's eating their potatoes, and it shows more about their state of mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay, so I'm gonna
potatoes.
Yeah, they are, and so we've already gone through the summary. So I'm just gonna bring some stuff that I just noticed, and I'm Mr. Nitpicky. I'm Mr. Guy. I'm pausing it all the time, looking at details. So they find the dead body washed up on the shore. Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe I missed something in there. How did Junho's police ID end up on that dead body?
He put it in his pocket before he tossed him overboard.
So he's going without his police ID? How does he identify himself as the police if he's throwing his freaking ID overboard?
I
Was
guess
it because of Squid Game uniforms have no pockets or something? He could have hid it in his mask or something.
They obviously have pockets because he's got his gun and his phone hidden.
Yeah. He's got that magic phone with a dynamite battery.
I don't know. I guess he was just like, throw suspicion. I don't know. Maybe he thought like if the guy washed up, the fish would have eaten his face off, and all they would have with this ID, and he'd be like, "Oh, that's the police officer." And but even that doesn't really make much sense.
No, because Frontman just saw right away that it's his brother. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But my question is,
again, it's pointing out spoilers, guys. Well, we know you have to have seen the whole show.
Because we are talking about VIPs and Frontman tonight. But my question is, is there any chance that the Frontman knew almost the entire time?
I don't think so.
He was there.
I don't think so. I don't think he knew that. No.
Okay, so when that body washed up and he saw his ID, that was like the legit first time that he realized, holy shit, he's here. Junho is on this island.
Yeah. So I thought one of my questions would get answered this time around. Last time I was saying okay, Frontman has a boss that speaks Korean. Mm-hmm. But it couldn't be Ilnam because he was still playing the game at the time. Mm-hmm. But this time it was Ilnam. Because now you see Ilnam is the owl. Mm-hmm. That's why you watch it the second time, you notice that Oil Man is the owl.
So we still don't figure this out until the 9th episode.
Yeah, we don't know that, but that's why you watch it again and you catch this again. And that's what I was saying in our episode with Daniel Kennedy is like, watch the VIP scene again. And with the background of knowing what you know now, and you can see that was kind of a fun scene. That honestly is a little better than you thought it was, or not better, but think of it in this context, and it's
I'll have to go back and rewatch it. Yeah.
And that is the thing. It's the tonal shifts, and people complain about that with Okja. Is all the tonal shifts that were in Okja? Is that the Korean characters seem real and down to earth, and the foreign characters look like clowns. That's a tendency in Korean media.
Yeah.
Tends
to be how it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so the VIPs come in, and we've already covered all that. I did notice that there's a really cool. It's a jungle theme, obviously, because symbolism, and the naked people are painted as animals. Symbolism. I'm not gonna like be bunk on the head. One thing I've noticed, and I've noticed it when I was working with Korean media, red wine always signifies class.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Anytime there's a scene.
Yeah, I've never. It's drinking. You never. Only time to drink anything white would be champagne, which they came in with champagne flutes, and then they're drinking red wine.
Except for the dude that's like drinking whiskey like so.
Well, later on, VIP 4 is drinking whiskey and he's shooting it like soju.
Which makes me think it must not be good whiskey.
Well, that or it's how Ajishis drink whiskey. They shoot it like soju.
But you're expensive whiskey is not supposed to be.
I know that.
You're supposed to savor it.
Well, I mean, either that or it was a character decision to show how unclassy this person was.
It could be, yeah.
And that's the thing too. Is like wine like that. You would think, okay, if you're doing wine, okay, this because it's my food background. You would do wine service where you would actually have the wine in the bottle next to the person. You would not have individual glasses of wine and people are sitting there. You would have the bottle with them because the people want to see the bottle. They want to examine the label. Even if it is white wine, you still would chill it a little bit. Yeah, things like that.
Well, it lasts longer if you chill it.
Well, they say that red wine's supposed to be served at room temperature, but that rule was come up with when people were serving wines in cold, chilly castles. So wine is actually not supposed to be like warm, like body temperature, room temperature. It's still supposed to be a little bit cool, like the cold water from a tap cool.
I do put my wine in the fridge a little bit before I open.
Oh yeah, the good red wine tastes better a little bit chilled.
I like it personally. I like it a little bit chilled, and then definitely white wine. White wine, I definitely stick in the fridge for a good long time before I open it.
It's kind of funny how I've really become more of a white wine person in my older age.
Oh, I used to be pretty solely red wine, but now I'm like, meh. I'm all about white. I prefer.
That's what
white.
it is. It's like it feels like the more you drink, it's like oh, I keep leaning more to this. So anyway, red wine signifies class. There was a scene I had to do one time with I was eating sashimi, and they had me drinking this awful red wine, and red wine with fish. Yes, I know, red wine with fish. Ugh.
You drink white with fish.
Yes, I know,
right?
red wine. Well, there are some red wines that work well with fish, but not with sashimi.
I was about to say, like, I know anything about wine. I'm just like, yes, everything I know about wine, I learned from Vineworks. I
hung out.
Vineworks.
I only did. Well, Vineworks is great. Vineworks and one people let me hang out with. Yeah, I've hung out with sommeliers and I learned a lot from those guys because they drink a lot.
We could do a SeoulPodcast thing at Vineworks.
I wouldn't mind that. That would be kind of fun.
Yeah, Ian hit me up. He was like, "Can you get like a press night thing going?" And I'm like, I could try.
So Vineworks, guys, look that up. If you're in Seoul, Vineworks regularly does these wine parties, these wine tastings, and just sign up for them because it's a great way to meet people. And it's usually people who are, people who aren't the bottom of the barrel soju, green bottle soju types. They're the people that appreciate nice stuff, and so they're good people.
They've got a really great collection of wine, and it's a really fun way to learn about wine because it's not pretentious at all.
Yeah, that's true. True. Here I'm being all pretentious, but yeah.
Yeah, like the whole point is just like they think that everybody should be able to enjoy wine, and so come and they're going to teach you a little bit about wine and let you taste a whole bunch. That's my favorite.
Yeah,
You just
and
get to taste a whole bunch of wine.
find what yours is and stick with it. Same with the thing
Right.
with whiskeys is like I got a special taste for certain types of whiskey, and that's the type of whiskey I go for. Where I'm open minded. Blends, if it's a well done blend, I like a blend. I'm more of I'm on a different edge. I like peaty and I also like heathery. So I'm on very two extremes. The one I got right now is Tamavulin sherry cask, which because I'm trying to get like medium grade whiskeys I'm finding over at Traders. This tastes like Christmas. It's pretty good. It's a little on the sweet side for me, but the holidays are coming. I think it's a good it's a whiskey that tastes like eggnog.
I'll have to get that. I want that.
Yeah, it's called Tamavulin Sherry Cask. They have two kinds that have oak cask, I think, Sherry Cask or something like that. Okay. Sherry Cask is sweeter. It's very fruity. It's caramelly. Mm-hmm. It's lovely. It's good. It comes to me. The previous one I got was Smoky Scott, which is very peaty. Doesn't have much body, but it grew on me after a while. Yeah.
So yeah,
anyway,
they should hire Joe for the alcohol stuff on the next season of Squid Game.
That. So yeah, I was watching the VIPs again. I said it is more fun. It does sound like an ESL CD. Mm-hmm. It does sound like an ESL tape. But yeah, a little better. Later on, they were told to choose what numbers. The players were asked to choose what numbers they want. Interesting that the Jesus man chose 6.
You think he'd choose 7?
You think he'd choose 7 on the day God rested, but he chose this when God created man.
Yeah. I mean, that was definitely a point to be made.
Yeah.
The church dude is a misogynistic asshole.
Yeah, he was. His face it's a very punchable face.
You just kind of wanted to punch him. Yeah. I was like, I wanted to punch him every other second. Yeah,
his sneer and everything. I'm sure he's the actor. That's good acting because I'm sure the actor is pretty cool in real life. Yeah. It's just, oh my God, he's so despicable.
We don't want to punch the actor. We want to punch the character.
I mean, he's the person we like. I mean, between him and Doksu, it's like, no, we wanted him to die more than Doksu.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, this is. I feel like this episode had the best death in the series.
Doksu's death. And Minya?
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's so lovely.
Beautiful.
And it just you knew. I mean, that was the Nicolas Cage look in her eye.
As soon as she stepped up, after like he tosses his minion over or whatever, and she steps up, you just like you can see it in her eyes. You're like,
yeah, she has a death wish.
Plan.
This is. I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but this sounds like a lot of stories I've heard of girlfriends people have had in Korea.
Oh no.
As in, I will destroy myself to destroy you.
Yeah, she was just like, oh, we're going all the way to the end, baby. Ha!
Yeah. Yeah, I'm watching the second time. It's like, man, trying to think of what is going through the character's mind at this point. It's like she's decided she's going to die, and she's going to die with revenge. That's the most Korean, that's the most Han thing to do. That is so Han.
Yeah.
It's Han.
Or, yeah. I mean, I don't know, because like, have you heard of the movie Promising Young Woman?
Mm-mm.
I think that's the name. It's got what's her face? Carey Mulligan stars in it. I believe it won Oscar for Best Original Screenplay.
Okay.
At the last Oscars. But no, like it's this whole sort of this woman, her best friend was raped and then nobody believed her. So her best friend committed suicide. Mm-hmm. And then so she drops out of medical school and then like devotes her life to getting revenge by pretending to be drunk at clubs and bars. And these nice guys pick her up and like, oh, they're going to help her. but then right when they like try to like assault her, she's like, it reveals that she's been so sober the whole time. But anyway, the end of that movie has a similar revenge act.
Okay, I think I have heard of this. I just didn't know the name. I've heard of this plot.
She does something kind of similar, and it does involve her death to get, but it was all completely orchestrated to take down the guy that had raped her friend. So I don't know, maybe it's not, I mean, yeah, it's very Korean, but maybe it's not completely Korean, because this was something that was written by a British woman.
Yeah, but I'm going to go with that. This was very Korean because this is the Soul Podcast. And,
yeah.
and I like pointing out that to me, this feels very Han. One of the lines, one of the VIP says, I think it was Daniel actually, says, when faced with danger, seek refuge in the herd. That's why they were talking about why people were choosing the middle numbers.
Right. They had no idea what was going on. And they're just like, I'm safer in the middle.
Lots of people brought this online on the bridge. What if someone walked on the rails and not on the glass? On the steel rails that was holding up the glass.
Yeah, like, would that be automatic elimination?
Yeah, what would have happened? Would they shot them? Would they have just exploded all the glass then?
Like, what were the rules? I'm sorry, what were the specific rules again?
They didn't say anything because I listened to it again to make sure that they didn't say anything like you can't walk on the rails. They didn't say anything. The only thing they said was take off your shoes. You had to take off your shoes.
And they didn't say anything specific like you have to walk on the glass.
No, they just said some glass is tempered, some glass is regular. They did not say you can't walk on the rails, or they didn't say you can only walk on the glass. Huh.
It's like, what if you were like balanced on the rail and then like tapped the glass until it broke, and then you're like, okay, not that one.
Yeah, that would have been my thing. I would have.
Yeah. And like I would just like, spread eagle on the railings and then be like, punch it, and if it breaks, you're like, okay.
Yeah, they didn't say you had to stand up too. You could have crawled and like crawled on your stomach so that one side's reaching one end, one side's reaching the other. There are ways around this, but
it's starfish that, yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, I guess when you're in that moment and you're like, I could very easily die, and you're not really thinking straight.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was, what did they call it? What's it? Because I called it like a demented version of hopscotch. It reminded me of hopscotch.
Yeah, it's like hopscotch. I was thinking of hopscotch a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was there? Is there?
There's like variations of like the floor is lava.
Yeah, it's like a demented version. It's like hopscotch meets the floor is lava.
Yeah.
Death.
We've always had weird fun games like that. Yeah. Something I did like notice when I was doing my research is VIP number 6 in Korea is known as gay VIP because they make a big deal that he's gay. Not that he's rapey, that he's gay.
Oh, because the rapey. Well, yeah, the rapey part is fine. It's the gay part that's the issue.
That's what it is. Known as gay VIP. All right, so that's all I had to say about that one. Do you have anything else to say about VIPs?
No, I knew right away who Daniel was. It's like,
I know, it was cool. I mean, I honestly thought
it's like I recognize that chin. I recognize that chin, and they're just like, I know. Yeah. It's like everybody back home was talking about it. It's like, I know somebody in that show.
Yeah, and I was really surprised I knew 2 people in that, and that was funny.
I just knew Daniel. That's it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go on the front, man. Okay, this is where I'm nerdy. I did a lot of pausing and screen grabs. Anytime Junho looked at his phone. So details I got from his phone. It's SK Telecom. Has 12% battery.
It's the phone that never dies.
Yeah, when he lands on the beach, it is 7:06 a.m. This is what's funny. What is it? So I was checking out the position of the sun. So he's swimming west. No, the sun rises in the east, so he's swimming west because the sun was behind him. This is what's interesting. Okay, 7:06 a.m. when he ends up on the beach. But his phone also says it's June 29th. So I went and checked and tried to figure out what years was there. Oh, it also said Thursday, June 29th. That's all another thing. It's Thursday, June 29th. I'm sorry, what years was June 29th on a Thursday? It's either 2017 or 2023. So do with that what you want. Come up with your own Squid Game theories about that. Is it in the past or is it in the future? I think. Well, of course he was looking at
because this is 2020.
He was looking at records that have already passed. Yeah, I want to go back and look at the records scene. I haven't had a chance yet to look back at that again.
Well, we know that where he is, that he's investigating, all of this is happening in 2020. They're doing the 2020 Squid Game.
Okay, so it is saying 2020, but it's June 29th on that Thursday, which didn't exist in 2020. July 29th existed on a Thursday.
That would be, I think that's like an editor, a cinematographer, a director, all of these people who are not paying attention to details. And with everything else that's going on in the show, that was like the one thing that they were like, nobody's gonna notice.
Yeah, but here I am. I'm just gonna come up with my own theories, like alternate dimensions or something like that. Yeah. And then he looks at his phone again after he climbs, and I calculated it took him 14 minutes to climb that ledge. Mm-hmm. Then he tries to contact his boss at the police. He in English they translate it as like, I'm on the coast southwest of the mainland. In Korean he says, I'm in the Southwest Sea. Mm-hmm. And he's demanding that they come right away. And like, how are the Seoul police going to go to some island southwest of what is Mokpo?
Yeah.
Like they have jurisdiction there.
He's like, find me. I'm like, dude, you've been missing for I don't know how many days at this point, because I can't tell time inside Squid Game. But you've been missing. The first thing they probably tried to do was locate you through the freaking GPS on your phone.
This is the Korean police we're talking about. The Seoul police specifically.
The first thing I would have done is I would have tried to locate him through the GPS on his phone.
Yeah. I mean, you say I'm making fun of the Korean police. Come on, front man makes fun of the Korean police. In this episode.
He does.
Yeah.
He makes fun of the Korean police.
Yeah. Also pointed out, obvious. I had to bring out the obvious. He used Kakao Talk to send the pics. The videos, and it wasn't working because his reception was not too good on SK Telecom. I mean, man, none of these are really good advertisements for these systems, are they?
No, they're not helping out at all.
Okay, one thing I noted was Sangu, who's an asshole.
Of the century.
Says to Gi-hun, someone who always has to get in trouble but can't tell he's in it. Yeah, that's totally Sangu's character. That's totally Gi-hun's character. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then we see Sebyuk in the bathroom with the giant shard. It's like she got the crystal. She has the dark crystal stuck in her belly.
Mm-hmm. But I knew as soon as like episode 7 ended, just like if you heard like the sounds and the reactions that the three had, I knew something went down with Sebyuk because she had
that large, and she was able to keep quiet about it for so long. That
she hit it. Yeah, I was kind of like, how the F did you hide that?
It was the crystal shard from the dark crystal.
I mean, she did have her hand over her stomach the entire time.
Yeah, but that would have been sticking out like a porn star's penis. I mean, that was giant.
And also, Gyun and Sangu had their stupid little tiff. And were paying no attention. So I could see how potentially she could have gotten away.
Maybe, but I couldn't notice it. I couldn't notice it. I'm like, I don't think they had it.
She had a high pain tolerance. Yeah. That was probably, she was like, I've had cramps worse than this.
Oh! All right, food guy. Food guy coming in.
We
it's time for me
to have pretty high pain tolerance.
Time for me to critique some stuff. Okay, so they have their steak dinner.
Our steak dinner.
Surf and turf. I was trying to figure out the menu they had. They had pretty nice looking rolls. They had grilled eggplant, tomatoes, green beans, and what maybe potato. They had broiled scallops, which looked like it had. I was doing some close-ups on it. Brie and mint. Didn't make sense because but Koreans put cheese on shellfish for some reason. Then they had tomahawk steak with asparagus and tomato, and 2 shaved slices of red radish, which you don't normally get in Korea. And then cake served on a tea service tray. I criticized the table setting because there's a soup spoon, but there's no soup.
Why would you have a soup spoon with no soup?
Yeah. They had a salad fork and a salad knife, appetizer fork, appetizer knife, and then a steak fork and a steak knife. And then on top, looked like might have been, I'm guessing, was a dessert spoon and a dessert fork. And then they had a butter knife on the bread plate. Anyway, but they didn't have butter for the bread. I didn't see any butter for the bread.
There was no butter. I didn't see butter.
Yeah. Then see, Sang-woo starts eating, and then Gi-hun sees him like that, and what I call vindictive, competitive steak eating.
Yeah, I have to eat faster or harder.
And angry. You have to eat angry, and it's very blue steak. It's not even rare. It is blue. It is bloody steak.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was like, I like my steak a bit on the rare side.
No, I used to love blue steak. Yeah, in Korea, this is the most unrealistic thing because Koreans love well done steak.
Oh, yeah, it's so hard. I have to, anytime I order a steak or even just a hamburger, and I have to get the temperature, I always I just say rare.
Hamburgers, be careful. Unless you've ground it yourself, be very careful with hamburgers.
Not hamburgers, but with steak, I definitely go a bit rare because that way at least it'll be medium rare. I can get medium rare that way.
They tend to cook at one temperature higher.
Yeah,
well, they always cook it just a little bit off.
Yeah. Anyway, but
I tend to order medium rare because that's the temperature most people order it, so that's the temperature they're more used to doing.
I like medium rare. That's my perfect temperature.
Yeah,
That's what
and like I said, I used to like blue, but now I'm more into medium rare. Okay,
and then
skip.
Poor Saebyeok can't eat anything.
No.
She's a giant. The woman is flipping bleeding out at the dinner table.
Yeah, I was going to make a joke like whatever she eats just comes out her belly.
The woman is literally bleeding out at the table and just.
Well, watching the competitive, vindictive eating.
Yeah.
And they ate the whole thing, man. That's impressive. They did eat.
They ate. I would probably eat the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we've seen what they've eaten up to this point.
With their sadness potatoes and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would just be like,
Yeah.
But, and then they remove everything from the table.
Yeah.
But leave the knife.
Ooh.
As a very clear sign of like, hey,
bonk on the head.
Hey,
we know what you're gonna do.
Maybe you should take some people out tonight.
Yeah, here we go. Because we got 3 people, and our next game only can fit 2.
Or actually, no, it's not really night because they keep going back and forth between.
Oh yeah, it is not night. You're right.
And Junho out on the island.
It's early in the morning.
It's in the middle of it's in the morning. There's a sun.
It's 7 a.m. in the morning. We saw from the phone.
Yeah, sun is up. So
and we only have one time zone in Korea.
Yes, and it proves my theory that they are not really following proper timeline. So we have absolutely no idea how long they've been on this island. For all we know, it could have been like 2 days.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
So we have no idea. I think everybody just assumes that it's been like 4 or 5 days because they like sleep in between each game.
So there's some inside stuff that came up. I think there's some inside stuff. Going back to Junho and Frontman. And they're chasing him. They finally catch up with Junho, and Junho says to Frontman, the Coast Guard will be here soon.
He was like, yeah, right.
And we're like, oh yeah, like they were for the Sewol. Oh, because that is a big sticking point with Korea is the sinking of the Sewol ferry and how slow the Coast Guard was to react to that. and how many young people were killed because of their inaction. And Frontman even says, "Well, you think the Korean police are going to be that fast? They're not."
Yeah, he definitely takes a dig at the police.
Kind of bumbling. And a side note, I mean, if you haven't watched it yet, watch The Raincoat Killer on Netflix.
Yes, it's good.
It follows Yu Young Cho, serial killer, which we did a 4 episode arc on that on Dark Side of Soul podcast. And even though it's mostly told from the police's point of view, even it's still, you can see how bumbling the police were at that time, and still kind of are in many ways. The only one who looked competent in that was the woman.
Yeah. Wait, the forensic or
the forensic detective?
Yeah, the forensic scientist.
Just the only competent one in the whole one. Only competent and non-corrupt. I mean, they were bragging. They were bragging how they were falsifying documents. And, you know, when you get a police chief and the former police chief and he's trying to be humble and shit, but you're wearing fucking sunglasses indoors for an interview. You're trying to create a brand, a character for yourself. You think you're a fucking rock star? People can't take you fucking seriously wearing sunglasses for an interview.
Yeah, watch that. And so if you watch that, then you'll understand like all the criticisms that are made about the police and authority in Korea. Yeah.
It's historical. It's historical. I can go back to 1592. Where the Japanese were invading, and what did the royal court do? Who were supposed, the whole reason the peasants,
so close to like,
the whole reason the peasants are subservient to the king and the nobles and stuff is that when they get attacked, the king will protect them. What does the king do? He runs away, and he kept running away until the Chinese generals came up and slapped the guy and said, "Come, stay here and defend your fucking people," because Korean authorities have a habit of running away when it comes time for them to do their jobs. Anyway, it's a pattern.
Yeah.
It's a pattern.
So yeah, Frontman makes a not so subtle dig at the police, the competence. Yeah,
it was good. And then we finally get the unmasking of Frontman. And so before we had competitive steak eating, now we have what I call the competitive handsome off. I'm just like, I really do think I'm somewhere on the spectrum after watching that scene. I'm like,
yeah, because it's just close-ups of their face.
It's like two gorgeous men that I'm like, I want to touch that face.
And then you're like, wait, they seriously hid Lee Byung-hun under that mask this entire season?
Yeah. I guess we saw from our previous episode, maybe not.
He was not. There were scenes that it was definitely not Lee Byung-hun. So, how often was Lee Byung-hun actually in Squid Game? Who knows?
And, I kind of wish he was, because you kind of want to say there's some physicality to enacting, and so they're kind of implying that the face and the voice are the only important parts of acting when there's a certain physicality that should be involved in that.
Well, and I think what this tells us is that I think even though I think the director has said that at the time he was just thinking it was going to be one season, right?
Yeah.
Well, when in the second to last episode, when the front man takes his mask off and it's Lee Byung-hun, that tells me right there, like, no, this dude he's already thinking about future seasons. You don't put an actor like Lee Byung-hun in a completely maskless role and then reveal him in the second to last episode and not do a season 2 and 3.
It is a great dun dun dun. Guess who I was the whole time?
Yeah, so that tells me that there's they've said they're going to do season 2.
I'm the guy from all the Terra beer ads.
But I feel like the next season, the front man is obviously going to take on a bigger role. But I will wait to get into my theories about that until after when we get to
we'll talk about that. We're going to do a whole episode about theories and stuff. And please, we want to share your theories too. So please contact us through our Facebook site. Twitter or Sejong at SeoulPodcast.com. Yeah, they really left it open for Junho to return.
Yeah. He shot him in the shoulder.
But also, when they looked down, there was no floating body. Mm-hmm. So someone was swimming.
And they shot him in the shoulder.
And these people are just like, they're more invincible than Black Widow. If you watch that movie, it's like so many times she should have died. She just.
But yeah, honestly, like getting shot in the shoulder, I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I feel like it's a pretty survivable wound.
It is a survivable wound, but I think you would also express pain because Frontman was also shot in the shoulder.
And he was just like,
He's like, and like not even eyes watering. My eyes at least would be red and watering if I was shot in the shoulder. Even if I'm trying to hold it back.
Clenched jaw.
Like,
What are you talking about? This is Lee Byung-hun. Lee Byung-hun doesn't react to pain. He takes it.
No, and on top of that, man, Lee Byung-hun, because he saw him take off the mask and he had the strap, but then he put the mask on. He put it back on just like the Phantom of the Opera. If you watch closely, he doesn't even put the strap. He just puts the mask on. He just sticks it on his face, and it just like magnetizes to his face, just like the Phantom.
Because he is the front man.
He's the Phantom.
He's the Phantom front man.
But speaking of 80s musicals, I didn't note that Sae-byeok went out like Eponine from Les Mis.
From Les Mis.
It's kind of like, oh, I'm okay. Oh no, I was shot. I have a fatal wound. I'm fine, except I have a fatal wound.
I mean, for me personally, I knew from the very end of episode 7 that I was like, Sae-byeok, this is it. She's mortally wounded. Which I was like, that was a bitch move. So they get all the way across the bridge, and they're like, surprise, we're gonna spear you with shards of glass.
Yeah. But that's how life works. You know, even when you succeed, just random shit happens to you.
I made it. And then you get punched in the gut, and you're like, nah, sucker, not yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I knew like she was gonna be making her exit very quickly. But we got like that nice little kind of like moment between,
we got
especially
the Marius and Eponine scene with the two, and then he goes, Gi-eun goes to go fix her, and then you know what? If she won't die, you need a graduate from SNU to finish the job.
Because God knows it's nobody else can do it.
I can't believe this. I didn't catch it the first time I watched it. I did not know Sang-woo killed her.
You didn't realize? I knew right away.
I didn't catch it. I thought she just died and he was standing over her body. No. See, I'm kind of dumb when I watch movies. That's why I have to watch it 2 times.
He had the bloody knife in his hand, and then Gi-eun runs up, and you can very clearly see that her throat is slit.
I think the first time I was just rushing through so much. Maybe I was texting people while I was watching it.
You missed it, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I caught it immediately. I knew.
And that's why you went like, oh my God, he's such an asshole.
Yeah, it was like, fucking asshole of the century. Sang-woo, come on.
Oh my God.
And then, he has the gall to be like, I was just putting her out of her misery. She's not a flippin' dog or a horse.
He's gone off the deep end. I mean,
he is went off. So far lost to the
he's so close to it, and this is the show that he is that's how he got into trouble in the first place. Is he's an opportunist, and he's a Machiavellian, and so he's always stepping on people to hit that goal, but he doesn't realize he's injuring himself more and more every time he's doing this. Yeah.
And then you have Gi-eun on the other hand, who throughout this whole process has, I don't know, regained his humanity, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Nice guys finish last, but at least they finish.
And not die.
Yeah. But Gi-eun was trying to get a doctor for Sae-byeok, but then later on we see Frontman removing his own bullet. They don't have doctors there.
Well, no, they killed him and hung him.
They killed the one doctor that could have removed his bullet.
One doctor.
So Frontman's removing his own bullet in a bathroom.
in a fancy bathroom.
A fancy bathroom. I had to check again to make sure if it was a private bathroom. It was like, that'd be funny if it was like a public. It was a shared bathroom.
No, it's in his room.
Okay.
His private room.
It's private.
Yeah, and then he's got and then he's obviously dealing with guilt that he may or may not have just killed his brother.
Yeah. So that was good. Again, something I caught on the second time around is his conflict.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also how that ends. That's how the entire series opened up. Like somewhere in the beginning, I'm not sure if it was how it opened, but somewhere in the beginning, this we had the fly me to the moon, and then the little figures.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out the significance of "Fly Me to the Moon."
I don't know.
The creepy figures. Yeah, I went down and I looked at the lyrics again.
The front man really likes it.
Yeah, Frank Sinatra. Something about memories and just getting out of there, but I couldn't figure out what the significance of the song was.
I don't know. Maybe that's season 2.
I'm looking too deeply, as always. I'm looking too deeply, which is why I'm like.
He just likes the song.
It's like the Thursday, June 29th mystery.
Yeah, which I'm fairly sure that was just somebody was sleeping on the job that day.
What if they're on the island from Lost? And that's what it is. They're on the island from Lost, and they're in some type of really time warp dimensional thingy, and they're going to see Jack and Sawyer and Hurley and Kate.
Or somebody was sleeping on the job and forgot to CGI the tape.
You do this stuff, man. You're trying to create new theories, man. It's Star Wars, man. Star Wars is little eras became their own things. Yeah.
Well, someday, if one of us ever gets to interview the director, this can be the first question.
He's not even going to remember it. He's not even going to notice. He's like, "What? Oh, that happened? Oh."
He's gonna be like, "Oh shit, sorry."
We had a deadline.
We missed something. We had a deadline. We missed a few things.
Yeah, that's what happens. Yeah,
I'm like, ha! My theory was right.
I'm reading right now a fun book on it's an oral history of Star Wars. Mm-hmm. I've read so many things about the history of Star Wars, but it's a big giant collection of interviews over the years. One was from Mark Hamill doing the first one, and that the stormtrooper outfits. Why am I saying this one? I think it was related to the mask thing.
Okay.
The stormtrooper outfits were very claustrophobic, and they couldn't see out of the helmets, and it was very hot, and everything. And so there's only one time Mark Hamill just had a panic attack and had to be. He's like, "Get this thing off of me!" It's like, there's something about that. Oh yeah, because they were running in the corridor. That's what it was. They're running in the corridors and they're running into everything because they really couldn't see where they were going. So that's what I was thinking when Daniel was talking about the mask and they were having to walk down the stairs. I was thinking of
they couldn't see.
Yeah, because there's that famous scene in the first Star Wars where the stormtrooper bumps his head on a door on the, and it's because the actors couldn't see where they were going. They really couldn't see where they were going.
I see now.
That's why I brought that up. Anyway, I'm going to wrap that up. That was Frontman. That was what I had about VIPs and Frontman. The VIPs.
One more episode.
Yeah, so come in with your theory. Oh, excuse me. Ooh,
yeah,
beer hiccups.
Let us know for next week. Let us know what your theories are.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. Just remind you to please like and subscribe. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, wherever you watch your stuff, or on YouTube. And you can find us on Twitter at King Sejong, and on Facebook at facebook.com/SeoulPodcast. Find Emma at Emma Kalka on Twitter, and me on Twitter at Zen Kimchi. And you can support us on Patreon if you wish. At starting just $5 a month, you can get all of our old episodes going all the way back to 2008. If you really like us that much. You'll see all the stuff that's changed and all the stuff that has not changed over the years. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, stay safe.
Bye.
The Soul Podcast is a production of Zen Kimchi International, copyright 2021, under the Creative Commons license. Parts of this podcast may be used for non-commercial purposes if you remember to give us credit. You can contact us at sejong@soulpodcast.com. That's SEJONG@soulpodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter @King Sejong and on Facebook at facebook.com/soulpodcast. For a transcript of this episode, listen to it again and write down what you hear. See you next week. Until then, may your samgak kimbap always be crispy and ever so salty on the outside and ever so tasty and moist on the inside.